Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John's report is for the 20th of September. And you can see we continue that contrary move. We had lower shakeout readings before. But in this gold scenario that started right back here at the 76% retrace, we have reached the peak. So it had fulfilled its, well, I guess you could call it a manifest destiny. And still now you have steel. This continued little rise of steel here has now pushed us above the orange. And you still don't have a lot of support from the bigger players in that. So within this weakness, holding up this well and bouncing off those key supports, taking us right to the highs from what the gold expectation was. And that's impressive. Should it fail to hold it? Well, that's a different issue. I think that you need some kind of catalyst in this generally bullish, movement to drive price lower, and that's going to be like a spark event, which will create a very significant downdraft when it does happen. It'll be very fast, but you don't have it yet, and so it's just a matter of watching and waiting, going with what is. Nasdaq's way behind as far as similar readings, not even close with the value, at least the highs. But then again, this was disproportionately higher, so you've kind of evened out, and that's a mean reversion just by simply of lack of participation in the Nasdaq. So it's reached an equilibrium. This rising euro is definitely helping the S&P much more. And that certainly made a significant move above this baseline. Got right to it, held it, and key factor here on this treasury, this is letting you know in advance that the market is pricing in higher interest rates, higher inflation, and that's a key factor. Oil, the breakout, that's critical because that is really going to put an interesting strain on the situation, because at a certain threshold it's going to be a threat to economic growth. If it gets too high, it will also impact inflation and slow growth. So those are going to be important factors to see how long it maintains that. I mean, it's obviously going to affect the pump at the price at the pump, which certainly impacts activity that way. So those are key ones. However, with that, you're not seeing it reflected in gold. And again, this is what I was talking about, what had appeared to be the move from the cryptos and gold into oil as the preferred arbiter of inflationary value, because there's certainly enough production, but it does point to a far more overheated economy than some may have realized. Well, this was an interesting day. Lots of markings back and forth. It started right about here off of this little fail signal up at the peak. It came all the way down to the zero. It finally produced a buy a little bit later than normal. And that was pretty much the cross of the steel. You would have noticed it right here at a little bit above the 23%, but the final close didn't happen until over here at the 38, and got positive extremes right away. And so as soon as it produced short snake, which happened pretty much up at the peak at the 76, and then kind of traded across until finally filled all the way through those. And then we started it again with the consolidation that took to a little pop. And these were a couple of key ones. Actually, those were the wrong color because they were little short snakes that developed. Like the first one started right here at the 100%, and with the positive extremes, and it filled those. And then you ended up with the gold candle, didn't do anything, and you pretty much just traded sideways forever. And then as we were getting to the close, we had this gold that took place right at the 50%, literally right on it. Let's expand this chart here now that we're getting to the end of that. There we go. So literally this one right here, you can take a look at it. 50% was 1450, the short algo was 1450, the long algo was 1450, everything was at 1450, and then a little bit after the close, you ended up with green crossing and a confirmation of it by the time it popped up there, and then it shot up to the high, and it's just been back and forth, and just had a big move right back up to the high again here with cyan under red, and it's skirmishing right now here. Potential DOC spread, but you still have significantly rising red with green slightly below, so that could be the start of what will be the retraces for these, because you can see all of these were done on low volume, all have positive extremes, so you get one of those conglomerate builds as we narrow the range, so that could have definite impact on the retraces. So we will continue to follow that one. It's been a little sketchy, especially as we head towards the expiration of the contract, and that there's a lot of rollover stuff that takes place, and so it gets a little wild. So it should be a little more interesting for volatility purposes, being able to follow the trades. I will put up anything that's really significant. These are all pretty basic, same things that we've seen all along. So if there's anything different that comes along, I will certainly put it on the Skype chat. As always, though, trade well. We'll talk to you later.